Hello, week 2 of pregnancy, the final hours before new life begins. Have you ever wondered why doctors say you're already 2 weeks pregnant, even though fertilization may not have happened yet? It sounds confusing at first, but once you understand what is happening inside the body during this stage, everything begins to make sense. Week 2 is one of the most important stages in the entire pregnancy journey. Even though there is no embryo growing yet in most pregnancies, your body is working with incredible precision to prepare for the possibility of creating new life. Deep inside your ovaries, hormones are communicating with one another. A tiny egg is reaching maturity. The uterus is becoming a safe and nourishing home. Every system is preparing for one extraordinary moment that could change two lives forever. Today's episode will take you inside the female reproductive system to discover the amazing science behind week 2 of pregnancy. You'll learn how the body prepares for ovulation, why hormones are so important, what happens to the egg before fertilization, and how healthy choices made today may influence the earliest stages of pregnancy. So, whether you're trying to conceive, supporting someone who is, or simply fascinated by the miracle of human life, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Chapter Act, Understanding the Pregnancy Calendar. One of the first questions many people ask is, how can I be 2 weeks pregnant if conception hasn't happened yet? The answer lies in how healthcare providers measure pregnancy. Instead of counting from the day fertilization occurs, pregnancy is traditionally counted from the first day of the last menstrual period, often called the LMP. This method has been used for many years because the exact moment of fertilization is usually unknown, while the first day of the last menstrual period is often easier to identify. As a result, week Act begins with menstruation, and week 2 is the period when your body prepares for ovulation. Fertilization commonly happens near the end of week 2 or the beginning of week 10, depending on the length of your menstrual cycle. This standardized system allows healthcare providers to estimate the due date and monitor fetal development consistently. So even though there isn't an embryo yet during most of week 2, your body is already doing something extraordinary. Chapter 2, Your brain is in charge, believe it or not. The journey toward pregnancy begins in the brain. A small area of the brain called the hypothalamus sends signals to another structure known as the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland then releases hormones that travel through the bloodstream to the ovaries. One of these hormones is called follicle-stimulating hormone, or FSH. FSH tells several tiny follicles inside the ovary to begin growing. Each follicle contains one immature egg. At the beginning of the menstrual cycle, many follicles receive this signal. However, in most cases, only one follicle becomes dominant. That dominant follicle contains the egg most likely to be released during ovulation. This remarkable communication between the brain and the ovaries happens automatically, without you even thinking about it. It's an extraordinary example of how different parts of the human body work together in perfect harmony. Chapter 10, Meet the Egg. Let's take a closer look at the star of today's story, the egg. Every female is born with all the immature eggs she will ever have. At birth, there are approximately 1 to 2 million immature eggs stored inside the ovaries. By puberty, that number decreases significantly, leaving roughly 300,000 to 400,000 eggs. Throughout the reproductive years, only a small percentage of these eggs will ever mature enough to be released during ovulation. Most naturally disappear over time. Each month, the body carefully selects one egg to complete its final stage of development. That egg carries 23 chromosomes. If fertilization occurs, it will combine with the 23 chromosomes from a sperm cell to create a complete set of 46 chromosomes. These chromosomes contain the genetic instructions that help determine countless characteristics of the future baby. Amazing fact: did you know that the egg is the largest cell in the human body? Even though it is still microscopic, it is much larger than a sperm cell. Unlike sperm, which is built for movement, the egg contains nutrients and cellular structures needed during the earliest stages of development. Nature designed both cells perfectly for their unique roles. Chapter 4: Hormones at work. While the egg continues developing, hormones are working continuously behind the scenes. One of the most important hormones during week 2 is estrogen. As estrogen levels rise, several important things happen. The uterine lining becomes thicker. Blood flow to the uterus increases. The cervical mucus becomes clearer, thinner, and more slippery. These changes create a more welcoming environment for sperm and prepare the uterus for a possible pregnancy. Another hormone, called luteinizing hormone or LH, remains relatively low during the first part of week 2. But very soon, LH levels will rise dramatically in what doctors call the LH surge. This surge is the signal that tells the mature egg it is time to leave the ovary. Without this hormonal surge, ovulation would not occur. The timing of these hormones is incredibly precise. Even a small disruption can affect ovulation and fertility. Chapter 5: Preparing the perfect home. While the ovary prepares an egg, another important process is happening inside the uterus. Imagine preparing a nursery before a baby arrives. That's exactly what the uterus is doing. Its inner lining, known as the endometrium, becomes thicker and richer in nutrients. Tiny blood vessels grow throughout the lining. These blood vessels will later help nourish the embryo if fertilization occurs. The uterus is essentially preparing a safe, warm, and supportive environment long before the embryo ever arrives. This preparation happens every month during the reproductive years. Most of the time, pregnancy doesn't occur, and the lining is shed during menstruation. But when fertilization does happen, this carefully prepared environment becomes the baby's very first home. Closing transition. So far in week 2, we've learned how the brain communicates with the ovaries, how a single egg is selected for ovulation, how hormones prepare the body, and how the uterus transforms into a welcoming environment for potential new life. But the most exciting moment has not happened yet. Now, we are about to reach one of the most important moments in the entire reproductive process. The mature egg is almost ready to leave the ovary. This event is called ovulation, and without it, pregnancy cannot occur naturally. Let's continue this incredible journey. Chapter 6: The moment of ovulation. After days of careful preparation, the dominant follicle has reached full maturity. Inside this tiny fluid-filled structure is the egg that has been developing throughout the first half of the menstrual cycle. Then, something remarkable happens. A sudden increase in luteinizing hormone, known as the LH surge, sends a powerful signal to the ovary. Within about 24 to 36 hours after this hormone surge begins, the follicle opens. The mature egg is gently released from the ovary. This event is called ovulation. Although it happens silently, ovulation is one of the most important biological events in human reproduction. Without it, fertilization cannot occur. For most women with the 8-day menstrual cycle, ovulation usually happens around day 14. However, every woman is different, and ovulation may occur earlier or later depending on the length of the menstrual cycle. Chapter Shat. The egg begins its journey once released. The egg does not simply float through the body. Tiny finger-like structures at the end of the fallopian tube, called fimbriae, gently guide the egg into the tube. From there, tiny hair-like structures called cilia slowly move the egg forward. The egg travels only a few inches, but this short journey is incredibly important. If sperm are already present in the fallopian tube, fertilization may happen here. If no sperm are present, the egg continues traveling for about 12 to 24 hours before naturally breaking down. This means the egg has only a short window of time during which fertilization is possible. Amazing fact, did you know that the egg itself cannot move? Instead, it depends on the gentle sweeping motion of the fimbriae and the rhythmic movement of tiny cilia inside the fallopian tube. Nature has designed an elegant transportation system that carefully guides the egg toward its destination. Chapter Art. Understanding the fertile window. Many people believe pregnancy can happen on any day of the month. In reality, there is a specific period known as the fertile window. The fertile window usually includes the 5 days before ovulation, the day of ovulation, and sometimes the following day. Why several days before? Because sperm are much more resilient than the egg. Healthy sperm can survive inside the female reproductive tract for up to 5 days under favorable conditions. The egg, however, usually survives only 12 to 24 hours after ovulation. This means sperm may already be waiting inside the fallopian tube when the egg arrives. When timing is right, fertilization becomes possible. Chapter 9. The journey of millions. Now let's look at the sperm. During ejaculation, millions of sperm enter the female reproductive tract. Their journey is long and challenging. They must travel through the cervix, into the uterus, and finally toward the fallopian tubes. Many sperm never reach the egg. Some lose their way, others stop moving. Only a very small number reach the area where the egg is waiting. And in most cases, only one sperm successfully fertilizes the egg. This extraordinary journey demonstrates just how remarkable human reproduction truly is. Chapter 10. Cervical mucus changes. One of the body's most fascinating changes during week 2 involves cervical mucus. As estrogen levels increase, cervical mucus becomes clear, slippery, and stretchy. Many people compare it to raw egg whites. This change is not accidental. The mucus helps sperm survive longer and move more easily toward the egg. It also creates a healthier environment inside the reproductive tract during the fertile window. After ovulation, hormone levels change again, and the mucus becomes thicker. This natural change makes it more difficult for sperm to travel. Healthy choices that support fertility. Whether pregnancy happens this month or in the future, healthy habits can support reproductive health. Experts often recommend eating a balanced diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats. Staying physically active with regular moderate exercise. Getting enough sleep each night. Managing stress through healthy coping strategies. Avoiding smoking, vaping, recreational drugs, and excessive alcohol. If you are planning a pregnancy, talk with your healthcare provider about prenatal vitamins, including folic acid. Healthy habits cannot guarantee pregnancy, but they support overall reproductive health. Myth versus fact. Myth. You can always tell exactly when you are ovulating. Fact: some women notice signs such as mild pelvic discomfort or changes in cervical mucus, while others experience no noticeable symptoms at all. Both situations can be completely normal. Looking ahead, the stage is now set. A healthy egg has been released. The fertile window is open. Millions of sperm may already be making their incredible journey. In the next episode, we'll witness one of the most extraordinary moments in biology, the instant when a single sperm successfully enters the egg, creating a unique human genome that has never existed before and will never exist again. It is the true beginning of a new human life. Closing: thank you for joining me for part 2 of week 2. Today we explored ovulation, the fertile window, the journey of the egg, the incredible challenge faced by sperm,